Earlier today, I was joined by Ohio Congressman and House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, along with Arizona Congressman and House Judiciary Committee member Andy Biggs, who wrote that letter. Thank you both for joining me. And let me go first to you, Chairman Jordan. Are we sure that the woman who the Marshal Service arrested is not the fugitive from 1999?
Well, it sure looks like she isn't. And what concerns me, I think what concerns us all, is it's not the first time this has happened. We saw this with Mr. Houck when the FBI raided his home, when he was willing to turn himself in, was nonviolent, and they raided his home in front of his wife and kids. We saw it in Little Rock, Arkansas, when the ATF goes in, and 53 seconds after they put the tape, for a search warrant, not an arrest warrant on this situation, to put the tape on the doorbell camera, 53 seconds later, they've shot and killed Mr. Malinowski because he supposedly sold 6 guns and he didn't have a license, and he was the top official and then we have this. Then we have this in Phoenix, the wrong person, and what they did to Miss McCarthy is just flat out wrong. So that's my concern, is this pattern, unfortunately, we're seeing from some of our federal law enforcement officials.
You know what it looks like, Chairman Biggs, is that, I mean, it's a little bit overkill. It's 25 years later. It's a 66-year-old woman in her driveway. She offers to provide identification that she's not the subject. There was a fugitive from some parole or probation 25 years earlier. And nonetheless, they cuff her and they take her into custody and they hold her overnight. I mean, we've got so many more serious crimes out there, and you've got all these U.S. Marshals descending on her.
Yeah, I mean, they treated her like she was some kind of violent felon who is on the run, maybe committed murder or something like that. And when she offered what I thought was very reasonable questions like, can you show me your identification? How do I know you're from law enforcement? And I can show you who I am. I can prove who I am. You got the wrong person. Don't you have the wrong person? Fell on deaf ears. And so what happens is they put her in this detention facility overnight. And they clearly had the wrong person, and the judge releases her the next day. But as Jim says, as Chairman Jordan says, this seems to be happening with frequency, this overkill, and it's really a huge problem. And I feel bad for Ms. McCarthy.
Greta, she's a 66-year-old woman. They threatened to tase her because she asked the simple questions Andy just talked about. Yeah, of course this was overkill, and anyone with common sense could see it. Why did you have guns drawn in the first place? She wasn't threatened. By all accounts, she wasn't threatening anyone, but they threatened to tase this lady simply because she asked some questions, for goodness sake.
Chairman Jordan, but it goes even deeper, is that once they made that arrest, they waited 6 months to present the video. I mean, it's pulling teeth. If some local TV station was able to, I mean, they wouldn't even show any honor in terms of correcting what they've done. You know, they tried to bury it, it seems like to me, because it doesn't take 6 months to produce that video to show what happened.
No, again, I think there had to be a FOIA request and everything else. Why did they have to go to such lengths to get that? It makes no sense to us, and that's why Chairman Biggs and I have written the letter. We want to get to the bottom of this. We want to know how it happened, how they made this mistake, because, again, we've seen this with other law enforcement agencies at the federal level, that it's just not supposed to operate that way, and that's why we're inquiring.
Chairman Biggs, we talked about how other law enforcement agencies, I guess that, you know, that what annoys me in particular is because I have a personal situation where the FBI, I made a FOIA request. They said I'll get the information on a closed case in 5 years. I mean, here at least you got it in 6 months, but they have the material. They could have turned it over. Instead, it appears like they're just trying to bury it so that she can't right the wrong, because she's been, I assume that neighbors saw this.
Yeah, what happens is, and what we're seeing here, they button this stuff up. When we send something out, they'll say, well, it's under investigation, so we can't respond to you. It's under investigation, so we're not going to respond to your FOIA request. And that is a real problem. There's a lack of transparency, and it is to protect themselves instead of coming out. And really what should have happened is they should have been out there within a week saying, we really biffed it on this one, we're so sorry. But they're afraid of liability, so they buttonhole this thing and stone us. They stone us.